Alberta Premier Jason Kenney's handling of the crisis has caused public anger to swell. You are now looking at polling from the Innovative Research Group, and it shows that Albertans are not happy with their UCP government. Greg Lyle is the president and founder of that polling firm, and he's in Gibsons, BC. Okay, Greg, break it down for us. What are the insights you've got on where Albertans stand now on Jason Kenney and how his party have handled COVID-19?
Yeah, it's pretty devastating, the numbers. We're looking at only 25% approving of the government, only 25% approving of their handling of COVID. We're seeing the NDP with now a double-digit lead over the UCP. The only good news for the UCP is that they continue to have a brand advantage. More people feel closer to the UCP than any other party. But within that group of partisans, the UCP only has 63% support, whereas the NDP have 98% support of their partisans.
Oh, so you're saying the party is significantly more popular than the leader?
Sure, absolutely.
Not a good situation if you're the leader.
No, it's we just really haven't seen numbers as low for someone that's trying to get reelected. When we last looked at Jason Kenney's favorables, he was at 25%, and that was before the recent crisis. Mm-hmm. So it's bleak days for Mr. Kenney.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because we're looking at the graph now of approval of the provincial government's COVID response. The Premier coming out last night, number one, apologizing, and then introducing a proof of vaccination across the province or requirement to show a recent negative COVID test to be able to access certain services and locations. Will something like that potentially be enough to stem the tide, reverse these numbers, reverse the downward spiral?
Well, the problem that both the Tories provincially, the UCP provincially in Alberta and the Tories federally have is that their voters are split on this. So even at this time in Alberta, 25% of Alberta voters believe restrictions are too tight. And those people are disproportionately UCP voters. 54% say they were too loose. So most Albertans will be happy to see the changes that the government's is bringing in, but the government's own supporters are going to be divided on them.
Okay, the Liberals federally are trying to, of course, use this as a wedge, but what's your take? Do you think Albertans will see provincial and federal politics separately, or is there a risk that Jason Kenney's woes infect into the federal Conservatives?
It's pretty clear that most voters in Alberta understand the difference between federal and provincial politics, and they're voting separately. The challenge is that the federal voters are divided on whether or not restrictions are too tight or too loose. And so it's a problematic issue for Aaron O'Toole and the federal Tories. If they had their druthers, they would prefer not to talk about this at all and talk about something like jobs and the recovery from COVID.
This, we were talking earlier about how the Open for Summer rebranding, the Stampede was going to go ahead, and it all seemed like it was not only a moment of excitement in the province among Albertans, but also a great hope among Jason Kenney's inner circle that it would relaunch him. How do you think that's gone?
But it's clearly not gone well. Jason Kenney was in big trouble even in the middle of the summer before the Delta variant really got going. He's going to be in more trouble now. And the issue isn't just the initial decision at the start of the summer. There was an argument for that. The question is, why did they wait so long to put the brakes on once they could see the cases growing?
And do you want to expand on why you think that might be?
I think there's a lot of theories. The one that I buy into personally is I think they had a hard time letting the dream die. I think it was hard for them. They really, really were hoping that this was behind them. They really, because there was evidence on both sides. They really sunk their teeth into the vision that vaccination was going to solve their woes. And it was probably pretty hard for them to give up on that dream.
All right. Greg Lyle, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.